Welcome to Nourishing Body and Soul, the podcast. Get ready to revitalize your mind, body, and soul. We're here to inspire women who are looking to break free from old patterns and ideas to create a life of increased confidence and improved health. Say goodbye to limiting beliefs and hello to new possibilities. So kick back, get ready to have some fun, and let's dive in. We'll uncover tools and insights that can help you build a life that's truly nourishing, body and soul. Hi, welcome to this episode of Nourishing Body and Soul, the podcast. I'm Tracy.
And I'm Victoria with my castish.
Don't be able
The
to follow the progress if
stupid
you're watching.
Fan. That's stupid. I had this hand on a fan and fell over a little. And so this hand is just not getting better. Yeah. So anyway, I love my body. I love it so. It does marvelous, wonderful things. Do not take it for granted.
So we're changing up our I know better but a little bit. So here we go. This week,
This made that sound like a major pronouncement.
No.
Okay, go. Sorry.
Just current events. This is our little current event moment. So I know better than this, but I gave food to a stray dog on our property without telling my husband about it. And let me explain why this is an I know better, but because we're dog people here. We've been without a dog for 2 years for various reasons. And my husband is at the point now where he has so much to do with our property. He doesn't want another dog. My daughter and I are dying to have another dog. So this dog just showed up 2 days ago and it's been hanging around. It's very skittish. It hasn't let us approach him, but, and we have water outside and he's been coming to get in the water, but I finally broke down this morning and gave the dog some food. I did not tell my husband that I was giving the dog food. I just got stuff out of that was about to expire out of the refrigerator. I gave it to the dog. And I told him afterwards, I'm trying to get the dog to stick around.
The dog to starve.
No, he would not want the dog to starve, but he also doesn't want it to make a home here. But I'm figuring if it makes a home here and the dog just finds us,
Yeah.
what are we gonna do?
Yeah, no.
So
No.
yeah.
It's like your cats.
Well, those came with the house.
Okay. That's cute.
So I'll let you know if we have a dog soon.
Yeah. I hope so. I have to go out and see it. See if it's cute.
It's probably in the orchard.
I guess even if it's not cute.
Every
dog is cute. It's like a kid. Every dog is cute. Sorry.
Because obviously around here we base everything on appearance.
Yeah. I know better, but oh,
So
all right. I know better, but I know better. I know that I'm more than a body. I know the things that I say are supposed to be more than my body, whatever. But I look back on some of these podcasts / YouTube videos, and I thought my boobs looked way too old. So anyway, now I got a new bra. I went out and got a new bra, and they're uplifted for who knows how long.
as long as the bra holds up.
That bra holds up. There you go. So anyway, so that I could look better on camera.
There you go.
For you. You're welcome.
If you're watching.
But I know better and I'm more than my appearance.
Yes, you are. But what are we talking about today?
Oh my gosh.
We're being warriors today. We're not going to be militant, but we're going to be warriors in our own goofy way. As people, yes, but particularly as women, too often we feel like we need to get permission for things that we should not need permission for. So that's where we're going today.
This is crazy for me because, well, I don't think there's a word that come out of my mouth more than I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I say I'm sorry. I'm sorry on this podcast for things that have nothing to do with me. Sometimes I say I'm sorry because somebody is going through something, and even though it's not my fault, I'll just say I'm sorry. And then they're like, why are you sorry? And
I'm sorry that you feel that way.
Yes.
That's an okay. I mean,
yes.
I'm sorry that you're hurting. So
Or just say I'm sorry for no reason at all, really. And then people, so many people will say to me, stop saying I'm sorry. Like, why are you saying I'm sorry? And so then I feel bad.
I'm sorry.
And so I'll say, I'll say I'm sorry, I'm saying I'm sorry. And I'll try so hard to control it. No, it's just like, I am sorry in every place of my beingness.
Okay, well, we're gonna give you permission, so you can stop saying I'm sorry.
So
So
try.
here's the irony of this episode. We're giving you permission to not need permission.
Yes, that is exactly.
But you know, we just want you to know we're
Yes.
on your side. We're reminding you of things that you hopefully already know.
Yes.
So first thing that we or number one thing that we need permission for, that sometimes we think we need permission for, but we don't,
Yes.
is eating.
What do you mean? I don't understand that one.
You don't understand this one. Have you or do you know any woman who has ever gone on a date and eaten beforehand so that she doesn't eat very much in front of her date?
No. Well,
Do you know anyone who has done that?
no, because first of all, I have guy friends. So like that. And secondly, I always got like because usually we would go, unless we're going to super posh place, like super posh place where their food is like this big, then I would go usually because I'm going out with men who like made more money than I did by quite a bit. And I would get like the biggest thing so that I would have leftovers at home. So no, I never apologized. I did the opposite.
But you know that that's not the norm.
No,
there are so many women that I know who will not, they will hide their appetite, especially in the dating time. I mean, hopefully,
I figured they better figure out right away.
Relationship or whatever. That hopefully by that time they know you actually eat.
So first of all, I guess I really like expensive restaurants. And so for the most part, expensive restaurants just give you not that much.
Yeah.
They just give you a little bit.
Yeah.
And in the Bay Area, there's a lot of expensive restaurants.
Yes.
Or tacos. Burritos, stuff like that. I mean, I maybe haven't eaten like extra pizza or something, mostly at work. Like if there's a luncheon at work or something, I don't want to go and like I need to look like ladylike.
That's what I'm talking. If you're, and I mean,
I guess if a boy asks me out, I figure you better know this right away. I'm going to eat some food.
Okay, that's what's it. But the thing at work, you know, like, okay,
like
somebody brings in donuts, and man, I really want a donut, but I'm not gonna eat the donut because they all know that I'm trying to eat healthier, and I really don't want to know. And we go in this whole spinning thing, and we feel like we have to have somebody else's permission for our appetite or our food desires. And like no permission. Right. We don't need permission to eat. We can do that. And we can let other people know that we do that.
Yes.
That's okay. So there's that.
1.
Right. 2. Resting.
Wait, what?
Are you serious? Do you not have a problem with that either?
What do you mean? Like,
if I am tired in the middle of the day, to me, daytime, because I'm not nocturnal, daytime is productive time. And so if I'm awake and doing things, even if I get tired, and this can be, and I know better, but too, I'm like, no, I can't lay down. What if my daughter came home from work and found me taking a nap in the middle of the day? Well, she doesn't get home in the middle of the day, but what happens if she comes home and finds me sleeping? What happens if my husband comes home and finds me sleeping? They're going to think and it's like, if I'm tired, I need a rest. Or just having like so many things to do and feeling like we have to be so productive that we can't take time to slow down, that some magic somebody somewhere or some life circumstance needs to give us permission to rest.
Yes, just you need your body to rest.
Right.
Nobody needs to say.
Right. And not even you, because I mean, we argue with ourselves way too often about, no, I can't. I can't go to bed yet. I've got to do this and this and this. So it's like, well, what you need is rest. So give yourself that permission.
Yeah.
Let the laundry go for another day. Let the whatever go for another day. But we just feel like, I mean, needing permission to just slow down when we need to. And sometimes unexplainably, like, I don't know why I'm so tired. I've been eating fine. I think I've been sleeping okay. Why am I so tired? Well, sometimes our body's just under stress that we're not recognizing, and it will take the form of fatigue. So listening and resting when we need to, and not asking anybody's permission to do that.
So I didn't work at a place that had one of these, although we did have a room set up where we could rest if we wanted to. Because they decided, some studies said that if you rest during the middle of the day, you're more productive. So they thought, oh, getting the extra margins there. So
Do people use it?
Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, some people did.
That's good.
I don't think I ever did, but some people did. Yeah.
That's good.
I know.
Because I don't think, even if I had one of those available, I don't think I could use it.
I think, if I had
I just got to think, oh my gosh, they know I'm going into rest. No, I just need to be doing my
that
job.
was-
Resting is not my job.
Yeah, that was me. I was like, I can't.
Yeah.
I couldn't do that. Let somebody see me. But yeah. So anyway,
There you go.
just saying that there are companies that like promote that.
That's
Will
good.
allow yourself to
That's
rest.
progressive.
Yes, they
In this
understand,
American
but they understand that if you, like I said, there's some studies done that if you rest, you will be more productive.
Yeah, it's still
So
progressive though.
you might as well rest so that we can
You
have
get
it be
more out
more
of it.
productive.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're still trying to get more out of you.
It's, but it's still progressive.
Yes.
Though, because in this culture, it's like,
Do.
I mean, when Americans find out how many weeks of vacation many Europeans have, it's like,
Oh my gosh, they take a whole month of August off,
uh,
like the whole month.
my daughter's job, she works with a lot of European companies, and she's just like, I just can't get a hold of them now until September.
Yeah, yeah.
And she deals in medical supplies, so it's kind of
And they rest in the day, so that's why they can eat late at night.
so,
Yeah.
So,
I've been in countries where you just, like Greece. I went to Greece and I was going around at 4 o'clock and there nothing was open. No stores were open, cafes weren't open, like nothing was open. And I go back to the hotel and he's like, shh, siesta.
what do you think was going to be open at this time of day?
You know, so anyway,
I'm American. I thought
I
everything
guess
was
I
gonna go.
rest. There you go.
Wander around the streets aimlessly.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay,
3. You want to bring this one in?
Wow. I mean, having an opinion, saying no, and having an opinion.
Yeah.
Those are kind of the same.
Yeah. So we put
Side
them
of the
together. They're a
fence.
little bit separate because I know myself. Oh my gosh. Because as women, when we're little girls, one of the things that we're trained to be is nice.
Yes.
And part of being nice is saying yes and taking care of things, even when we don't mean it.
Yeah.
And we're not setting proper boundaries.
Saying no is a big thing. I've said yes, and pretty soon you've got so many balls in the air that you're juggling that at some point something's going to drop.
Tell them the story about your meeting that you went to and saying no, thank you.
Oh yeah, that's right. Okay, so I'm learning a new thing. I decided at the beginning of the year, that I was going to say no, thank you. Like if they asked me, I was going to say no, thank you. And that was it. I thought, well, that's me being super polite.
And that's part of realizing that learning first to say no, and then that we don't have to follow that up with anything. We don't have to explain why we're saying
no. So anyway, so I was in this meeting and it doesn't matter. It was a meeting and there were 2 men and like 5 women. And they were doing some big thing at the fair. It's a nonprofit thing. And they were doing something at the fair and they needed people to volunteers. Okay. So this is on Zoom. So we're all going around and everybody was, saying, that they, whatever. Everybody was saying yes, 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 yes. Well, 2 men, by the way, not saying anything. Okay, all the women saying yes, yes, yes. Then this woman comes and she says no because she's going to be out of the state. And she has this big explanation about how she's going to be out of the state and how sorry she is that she's not going to be there. And if she's, you know, if she had been there, she would totally be helping and she will be thinking of them while they're, you know. And I was like, oh my gosh, wasn't embarrassed for her is not the right word, but I thought, what in the world has gone on in her life that she feels that much
Obligation
guilt?
to say yes.
Yes, yeah, and that much guilt that she's not. And I thought, so they came around and they said, and first of all, I didn't say anything because it's Zoom. So I didn't say anything, and they're like, well, we need one more person. And I didn't say anything. I didn't say anything. And finally they're like, we need one more person. And I was the only one that hadn't said anything other than the men. And so I turned on my camera and my sound and I said, no, thank you. And that's it, like nothing else. And those men looked so shocked that I would dare say something with nothing else. And everybody else was kind of like, you know, like, I don't know. Yeah. And so finally one of the guys was like, I guess I have to go. I'm like, yeah, I guess you have to. Or somebody else. Like it was so empowering. I cannot tell you how empowering it was to not have to give 8 million excuses, because I've been there and I've totally given a ton of excuses for things. Not to give 8 million excuses, to just say no, thank you. I was polite. I didn't say mean things. I didn't have a mean look on my face. I just said, no, thank you. Oh, I loved it. It was so free. Anyway, that took like 50 years to learn. Thanks.
So yeah, here's your reminder. You have permission to say no. End of sentence.
And you can say no, thank you.
And it doesn't have to.
And it's cool.
And people may or may not respond well to that, and that's on them.
Yeah.
That's not their response, is not your problem.
No,
their response is their responsibility.
Yeah, and the thing is that women often really do have a lot of things that are going on, and then things are put on them and they say yes and they say yes and they say yes until you need to sleep for 5 weeks and you cannot, because
your body shuts down.
Yeah, because you don't feel good enough to rest without feeling sorry about it.
Yeah. So, and then along with this, having an opinion other than just saying that, I will tell you, when I adore my mother, who has been gone for over 10 years now, but I adore my mom, and I can't even begin to have a long enough space or time to say how many wonderful things I learned from her. One thing I did not learn from her was how to have an opinion in a marriage. She was the queen of no conflict. Just don't rock the boat, don't rock the boat. To the point where after 28 years of marriage, she went, I'm done here. And by the time she said that, there was no going back. There was no, let's go to counseling. There's nothing that could be done, because she just let it build up and build up, build up, and finally went, I mean, literally think it's just another brick in the wall, brick in the wall, brick in the wall, brick in the wall. And she never said, I'm building this wall here.
Yeah.
It just, and so I went into marriage feeling like that was a wife's role, was to agree with her husband.
No matter what.
Now, mind you, my husband and I were best friends for 5 years before we got married. And we were best friends because I was the one who would tell him like it was. And so I feel like, and then we got married and I just kind of shut up about things. And physically, what that did is I used to get canker sores in my mouth all the time.
That's all insane.
Yeah, I would get canker sores all the time because I was holding back. Once I went, you know what, we were about 10 years in, and I'm like, this is going to end my marriage. I have to stop doing this. I have to find a way. And now my poor husband, he's this wife who all of a sudden seems very contrary.
He's not poor husband. We're just saying right now.
No. He was my poor husband because he had this person that would tell him like this. He married her, she shut up. He lived with that for 10 years, thinking, okay, well, this is how it is. And then suddenly after 10 years, he finds out I don't agree with everything he says.
He's probably happy about it.
So ultimately, but you know, that's going to be a shock after 10 years of living with this person this one way. So yeah, I mean, I know that ultimately, yes, he does appreciate that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so once I decided, no, you know what, what really was key for me was I would find myself like after he left, I'd be having these arguments in my head with him. And
I've had that.
And it's like,
that's happened.
Why am I, and it took me way too long to go, why am I arguing in my head with him? And I'm not saying any of this out loud.
Wow.
This is not healthy. This is not good.
Mm-mm.
And so, but once I went, you know what? No, why this is something I got to stop or it's going to end this marriage.
Yeah. Plus your mouth.
Yeah. I can't remember the last time I've had a canker sore.
See, that's so great.
So having permission to have an opinion, to use our voice, whether it's in a marriage, another kind of relationship, or at work, or whatever, please, no. You have an opinion, and your opinion is just as valid as everybody else's.
Yes.
And you have a right to speak that up. I'm not saying just spit everything out and be awful and ugly about things. You don't have to be rude when you express your opinion, but you can express your opinion. What is that face for?
This because I have lots of opinions all the time, like lots. I think like 90% of any arguments I had with guys would have been gone if Google had been as sophisticated as it is now. Because you're dating a bunch of, it sounds like, well, I did date a lot of guys. So I dated a bunch of smart engineers coming from MIT or whatever, you know, Stanford or whatever. Yeah.
School.
So yeah, so if we ever had like arguments about stuff, I knew I was right. But it would be fact-based and, you know, if it was opinion-based, these were fact-based things. I couldn't prove it. Now, Google just
Alexa, please show him how he's wrong.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's a beautiful thing. Yeah. I don't know why I say I'm sorry all the time. I have no problem eating. I have no problem resting. And I absolutely have opinions up the yazoo.
And yet you apologize.
I know. I'll try to block. Oh, not my opinions. That's for sure. Everybody laughs when I have a lot of opinions. I used to say, now I started. I used to say that my favorite 3 words were "you are right."
Oh, favorite words to hear.
Yes, to hear. My favorite 3 words to hear. You are right. This is why I'm not married, by the way. This is very much why.
You are right.
Yeah. But one would think I love you, but no, you are right.
Now we all know that we can fix heart.
Yes, exactly. It's not food or
chocolate,
rest.
and you are right.
It's telling me I'm right all the time. I love it. Yeah.
Oh gosh. All right. So our number 4 thing is a little more serious.
Yes.
But
yes.
Having sovereignty over your own body. I so wish we didn't need to have this on the list.
Yeah.
I really wish this was something that didn't need to be talked about.
Yeah.
I can't tell you how much I wish that, but it is something that needs to be talked about. When we feel, oh my gosh, she has another story. She always has all the good stories. Tell about your concert, coming back from the concert story.
Okay. So this one happens when you date random guys. I used to say yes to anyone who asked me out because I figured I would give them a chance and I would go out with them at least twice because I figured they're going to be nervous on the first date. So I'll give them a second date. So first date, super nice. Whatever guy, nice. So second date, he takes me, this is going to show how old I am, to a Garth Brooks concert. Okay. In Sacramento, I was young, and it was when Garth Brooks very first came out, and it was his first big concert. And we had tickets like I'd never been to a concert that had been this close ever. So we had tickets right at the stage. Like Garth Brooks was singing and reaching down and touched my hand. And I thought I was going to faint, like I was watching the Beatles or Elvis or something. So anyway, it was super exciting and I had a lot of fun and it was very like, so anyway, we're coming home. So driving Sacramento to where I
An
live.
hour and a half away.
Yeah, yeah, about an hour and a half away. And all of a sudden he like stops and and I'm like, yay, happy. He stops and he pulls over to the side of the road. And I was like, what are you doing? Because it's like these are small country roads that you're going down. And which I didn't think anything about because some guys like I liked driving on small country roads versus the highway. And so anyway, we're on a small country road, pulls off to the side of the road. And I was like, what? And so he starts giving me a kiss. I'm like, okay, what else with the kissing? Fine. And then he starts to go more. And so I pull away from him. I'm stuck in the car in the middle of nowhere. And I say, what are you doing? And he said, well, I got you tickets to Garth Brooks. And I said, yeah. And he's like, so we're going to have sex now. And
I'm sorry, you shouldn't laugh.
Oh, well, you can laugh because the ending was a fake ending.
Yeah.
And I was like, wait a minute, no. I said, first of all, I don't know where you got that idea. I said, secondly, I'm not a prostitute. And I don't get paid in Garth Brooks concert. So we needed to have that established beforehand or I wouldn't have gone out with you. And so he was very mad. And then, but ultimately like drove and went home and then he asked me out again. And I was like, no, why the heck would I go out with you again? I like feel like I barely escaped last time. Yeah. And it just is, that isn't the only time that's happened. Like that happened in high school with a guy. He didn't want to have sex with me. He just wanted to make out. And I didn't want to make out because one, he wasn't I didn't want to make out with him. And he was like, yeah, but I bought you ice cream. And it was like, I learned,
that's not how that equation works.
I'm not a prostitute, and he was respectful afterwards. But guys are not respectful always. Yeah. And I was very clear, like it didn't take me very long, I guess, to understand that I had to be very clear in my intentions and very clear where I could be. Like I couldn't be in a car alone with somebody. I couldn't give them my address unless, there were certain things that I just had to do to make sure that my body was safe. Mm-hmm. And that, yeah. And yeah.
And that's, that guy sounds like a total jerk and a total creep and a total Neanderthal. But we have to recognize that that's the culture that he was raised in.
Yes.
And there are still many men, especially when you're at our age, that's how many of the men were raised. Yeah. I think that's changing, thankfully, yeah. but still, but the ability that she had to be the one in those situations, and I think most of us may have had situations like that.
He was not alone in that.
Yeah.
There at a point I realized I need to pay for my own meals on our first date and our second date. Like I need to pay for my own meals until I know who this person is. Yeah. Or my own concert tickets or what have you, because I didn't want to be beholden to them. And that was just the culture. The culture is I was beholden to them, that my body was beholden to them based on how much they paid for the date.
Yeah.
And
that is not fact, obviously.
Yeah.
We just want to be real clear with that we have that's ours. And fortunately, it ended up well. As she pointed out, other times it may not end up as well, which that's a whole nother thing. But even just too often, women buy into that too.
Yeah.
And even if it's not on the first or the second date or whatever, it's like, well, I'm not really that into this guy, but he has taken me out 5 times and he has spent this much money. So maybe I should just give him at least some of what he wants.
Yeah.
No, you don't have to do that. We have the authority over our body.
Yes.
And that extends to,
and you feel guilty saying no. I mean, that's the thing. Like I didn't feel guilty with that guy because he was so blatant about it. But there have been times where I have felt guilty saying no, because I've known that they've paid, I've known that they've paid for several dates, and I know, like we're just now coming to a point where we have sovereignty over our own bodies. Like, we can make that choice on our own, but there has to be buy-in from the culture around it, from the men on the culture around it, that they understand that we have sovereignty over our bodies. And I think it's changing. The Me Too movement. I have family members that might think the Me Too movement was too far. I think it was not far enough, but it's better than it was.
So let's just be very clear, and hopefully nobody listening is in a position where this is an issue for them, but just a reminder for yourself and for the other women, and particularly girls in your life. Let's talk about this. Let's be sure that we understand that we have sovereignty over our own body. And that's in a situation, but also even in something as simple as going into a doctor's office and saying, no, I don't want to be weighed today. There's been no significant change in my weight. Any medications I'm taking are still all on track like they have been. So there's no need for that. And that we don't have to just acquiesce to what the medical profession wants in that situation. Even something as simple as that. Our body is ours. It's not anybody else's.
Can I also say one thing? If somebody out there has had an experience where they either decided not to say no because of the date, how it worked out, or like we also have been a victim of culture in that way too. And so the guilt that sometimes you feel with, either you have had forcibly not had sovereignty over your body, or you have
given that up like when you didn't want to. When you didn't really want to,
where you feel,
but you thought you should,
where you feel like it was too easily. We are all part of this culture of women not having sovereignty over their bodies.
It's not something to beat ourselves up about if we have not claimed that as we could, but it's something that we can look at.
We can probably talk about it in a different
it's a very cultural thing. It depends on how we were raised and that.
So I've been watching. We have to be cognizant of the time.
We need to hurry up.
Yes, I've been watching these Jane Austen things, and they did not have. You want to talk about? This is where we were with sovereignty over your body. Like, they didn't have even any say in whether they got married, who they got married. Like, it is so. I mean, it's Jane Austen, a bunch of running through fields kissing the guy, but they're just so. When you talk about sovereignty over your body, like cattle, women been treated. So we have to.
Realize that's where we're coming from. That's where we're coming from. And we have made great strides, but there's still more strides to be made. So let's make them
to be made, because why is there like this new whole thing with like Bridgerton and some other a few new Sanditon or whatever, like a few new Jane Austen things where they're becoming really popular, and the women don't have power in those situations. So here we are,
Jane Austen particularly, we're going on a little tangent here. Jane Austen particularly, though, it's in that culture, but if you notice her heroines, I mean, Elizabeth Bennet is her best known heroine, and Elizabeth was she had to live within the legal confines of that time, but she was not a doormat wilting violet.
I have analysis of why these shows are becoming popular in this moment.
Okay.
No.
Either I'll just get to hear that later.
Just know there's analysis in my head right now.
There you go.
Okay.
So our last
hating on Jane Austen. Clearly I'm watching them, or I wouldn't have been bringing them up.
So
Okay.
our last one is owning our own power and being our full selves. And this is one, obviously, as I talked about before, the way that I was particularly raised, and I know I'm 100% not alone in this. There's this kind of expectation of how a woman should be.
Yes.
And again, it's culturally, I'm not throwing out any blame anywhere. I'm just saying, let's just put that behind where we feel like we have to muzzle ourselves, or we have to, and sometimes we do this to ourselves. We're afraid to shine too brightly. Oh my goodness, I think I'm sorry.
That's why I say I'm sorry all the time. I'm shining so brightly. Just jokes.
But we dim our own light because we feel like, I think a lot of it has to do with worthiness. And the bottom line of it, I think, is worthiness a lot of time, not all the time, but we feel like, who are we to ABC? Who are we to want, this guy who we think may be out of our league? Who are we to start our own business? Who are we to think we could get that promotion and be upper level in that country? Who are we to do this or that?
Who are we to tell our husband to do the dishes while you have to work an extra, who even knows?
Yeah. And
Again,
so that just that
comes from someone who hasn't husband.
The dynamics in each marriage are different, but
Yes.
sorry.
But it is all. I'm gonna try really hard to stop saying I'm sorry. No, but like, I don't know. I do feel like in the relationships that I have seen, that women don't always say, hey, I have X number of things that I have to do at work, and I am going to be required to stay overtime.
Mm-hmm.
I am not going to have time to get dinner on the table. And women will not say that to their husband, or their husband has no expectation. Now, maybe a family of Neanderthals. I don't know.
Well, again, this is the culture that we're coming from. I honestly feel like this one, the biggest barricade in this is ourselves.
Yes.
This is something that we need to give ourselves permission to do. This one, the ball is in our court. There are so many situations where, I think about one of my favorite books is The Hiding Place by Corrie ten Boom. Corrie and her sister were in concentration camps. You want to talk about a situation where basically you have no power, and yet we see in this book that they still had power. They still owned the power that they had. They still were true to themselves. Then I feel like this one, the other ones we may have to have buy-in from other people, but this one we're our own, we're standing in and not doing. So we're giving you permission now to really find out who you are, if you have forgotten, and to really just own that and be that, because there's only one of you in this world. I don't care if you have a twin, there's only one of you. And when we hold that back, we're really depriving the world of something that it could have that's good. So
wow, wait, say that again.
When we hold back, we're depriving the world of something that it could have.
Yes, I love that. I love that so much. I'm going to write that down.
Okay.
I'm serious. I'm going to write that down.
Yeah.
Although, as we can see, I don't hold myself back. I clearly am not holding myself back, but maybe the others are.
So you have permission to eat and rest and have an opinion and say no, period, end of sentence. You have sovereignty over your own body, and you have permission to fully be yourself.
Yeah.
You don't have to ask us or anybody else.
No one's ever asked me
for that permission.
No,
They may have in their head, you don't know.
Okay, maybe.
So there you go.
Maybe. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
So in the
As
meantime,
long as I'm right.
between now and next time. Oh, wait, you know what I realized?
What?
Last time you said you're going to stay off the scale for a week. How did that go?
Okay, so I sort of did more than I usually. More than I usually do.
Okay.
But then I did go to the doctor and I let him weigh me because I wanted to see. But I also I weighed myself a couple other times too. It's very hard for me. It's not an addiction, but yeah, I'm trying.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. So there you go. You have the news. Excuse me. So don't forget to nourish your body and your soul.
And just don't hold back.
Don't hold back. See you next time.
Okay, so this is embarrassing because I've always made fun of people who did this, but
like and subscribe.
Turns out it's important.
Well, it's important because if you like what you're listening to and seeing and you want to find it again, it makes it easier for you to find it, and then also it makes it easier for other people to find it. So if you like us, like us,
yeah, put a ring on it, us.
Yeah, then like and subscribe, and it'll make us easier to find. Hey, it's Tracy. If this was helpful and you'd like more, follow me on Instagram at tlastel.nourishingbodyandsoul, or on Facebook or YouTube at Nourishing Body and Soul, or you can find my website at nourishingbodysoul.com. Thanks for tuning in to Nourishing Body and Soul, the podcast. Before we wrap up, we just want to remind you that the information we share in this podcast is for educational and informational purposes only and is not intended for medical advice. While we hope you find our discussions helpful, we strongly recommend that you seek the advice of a qualified healthcare provider before making any changes to your diet, exercise routine, or any other aspect of your health. We also want to make it clear that the host, guests, and producers of this podcast are not responsible for any adverse effects or consequences that may result from the use of any information or suggestion discussed in this podcast. We care about your well-being, but we can't take responsibility for individual outcomes. By listening to this podcast, you agree to indemnify and hold harmless the host, guests, and producers of this podcast from and against any and all claims, damages, liabilities, costs, and expenses arising from your use of the information provided in this podcast. We're so grateful for your support, and we hope you keep listening and learning with us. Thanks.